Hey, what's going on, everybody out there? This is Ron
Peace.
Brown, T, the People's Fitness Professional, alongside my co-host
Mikey Fever.
Jay. All right, yo. So, we're supposed to have. You're not gonna see a lot of people on the live yet because it's my fault. My apologies. I clicked on just the Facebook connection as opposed to clicking on the Facebook connection and the YouTube connection. So everybody on Facebook they're seeing this, but now YouTube people are just starting to see like, they have a live going on right now at 7:00. So now my YouTube people, thanks for chiming in or seeing, viewing what's going on tonight. Building with the God Magnetic from Morocco.
Peace, Lord.
Peace, God. And
Peace, Almighty.
we're building on
Peace.
the FBA from an East Coast and West Coast perspective. We had a nice conversation about this, building about this over the phone. And, I thought that this conversation should be had for the public so that, they could see that, from different coasts, we have different perspectives. Now, from how I see it, I think that the FBA, Foundational Black American Movement, it was popularized by Tariq Nasheed, and who's I don't know if he's from the West Coast. I think he's from somewhere else, and then
Chicago.
And then he migrated to the West Coast.
West Coast.
So and we're born and raised New Yorkers, so we see things from a completely different perspective from people in the Midwest and the West Coast, and the social climate in the Midwest and West Coast is completely different from the East Coast. And I think that's where a lot of the conflicts happen between the original people from these coasts, or as the God calls it, the 16 black meccas. I think we have, people from New York have a discrepancies with people in other regions because our perspective is a bit more, I would say diverse. I would say diverse because we grew up in a diverse environment. So it's diverse. It's that we deal with different nationalities and races on a consistent basis, and we deal in harmony a lot of the time with them, and sometimes we don't. Like I was telling the God Mag, that even though this is a melting pot in New York, back in the days, Mike, remember on Rikers Island, you had the Latin Kings and the Yetas.
Oh yeah, with the Bloods.
They were
Before
the Bloods were even founded. Remember, they were going at it with the 5% Nation.
Yes, they were.
Prison.
They were.
You know what I'm saying? And because from what I heard, the 5% Nation, well, not the 5% Nation, the guards in the prison system, they were taking advantage of everybody, and then so that's when the Latin Kings had to form and then do what they did, and then that's when they started taking advantage of the so-called blacks. So then after that, they started then they formed the Bloods. So that's how it happened. So there is some kind of racial tension in certain cases, but not like other regions and states. So, Brother Mag, how do you see it as far as so-called Hispanics and things like that? How did you grow up?
First, I just want to add this part on, God, is that when we're dealing with 85 foundational Black American and 85 Puerto Rican, you're gonna kind of have a limited understanding, and maybe not even an understanding, but a misunderstanding, because 85% are people who are easily led in the wrong direction and hard to lead in the right direction. So, but if we're dealing with 5%, say foundational Black American and 5% Puerto Rican, you're gonna have a higher quality of thought, a higher quality of expression, and a higher quality of culture, and people that are cultured, that respect culture. So as far as me, when I came into 120 and I started dealing with the gods, then I started really meeting some Puerto Ricans, right? going past, just seeing them on the street, walking past me, but really starting to get to know them. And these guys had a Spanish look to them, meaning that they had the straight black hair. They weren't like the black Puerto Ricans. They were more like, look like Al Pacino.
Al Pacino, this little
You
Spaniard
see
look.
what I'm saying? Yeah, man, like Scarface, you know? So, but they act like us and had the same culture as us. And particularly was a god named Freedom. And I was looking like, well, wait a minute, man, who's this guy? And it was like, you know, the gods was laughing and stuff. It was like, man, that's the God Freedom. And the God came up and dabbed me and, you know, he said peace and everything. And I was like, wow, because this guy looked like a lighter version of W.D. Farad, basically. But he was black as they come, man. You could not tell this dude he was not black. So once I saw that, I said, okay, well, I see the gods have broken through that, what is it, the God degree in the 1 through 14. Why does the devil call our people Africans? Meaning that it's all type of labels that the devil has put upon us to separate us and divide us. But I always was able to see the gods penetrate through that. You know what I mean? Get through that, the different complexions, right? But also the different false ideas and labels and stuff that have put on us. So that has been my experience. Now, on another side, now that's the Puerto Rican folks, you know, and then I got another brother. He, you know, he be around the gods and whatnot, and he just is from the black community, but he's a Puerto Rican brother. His name is Josue, not Jose, Josue. But Josue is a really, really cool, down to earth brother, man, and got babies from what I've seen by all black women. So, you know, and he's always been, you know, around the black folks. So I was like, okay, that's that. But then we have also over here a serious beef that has been fueled by, I'm gonna say, by white supremacists between the Mexicans and the blacks. And this has been going on in California for a long time, where they weaponized a lot of certain Mexicans against us, where they gave them guns. And it was like a thing between the white supremacists, specifically the Aryan Brotherhood, and I'm gonna say, I guess it was some Mexican gang, man. You know, I don't want to say, because I don't want to say the wrong thing because we're on TV, but there was you know, it was like some type of coalition they had formed against us, and this was in a lot of the penal institutions. So that's what really intensified the black and you know, Spanish, I would say, fighting and, you know, and war that's been going on for a while. And honestly, that kind of been going on since the 80s on the West Coast, you know, and a lot of it was about the drug trade. But then I don't know if y'all have ever heard the term La Raza. You heard that term, La Raza?
I heard that term, the family. Is it that methodology of whitening the family through genetics?
You see, there you go. Yeah, whiten La Raza, meaning the race. So they were saying make the race better by, like the brother said, making it more blanca, more white. So, but you know, when you begin to examine who Mexico is, and that we're going to go into this later in another show, but the people that are from Mexico are kind of the bastardized children of Spain. And in Spain, the racism that we're dealing with in America and throughout the world, the anti-blackness, it kind of got its jump off in Spain. So when we left Spain and went somewhere else, the last province being like Granada, a lot of that racism got on a boat and followed us here. And it materialized into what we see as so-called Mexican culture. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of examples of it where they have this caste system, number one, but then just a lot of anti-blackness, and they've normalized it. So it's not anti-black to them. It's just their culture, you see, you know? So, and you know, this is a lot of what we're dealing with. If we don't go back to that 15th century Spain, and which was like the second coming of Rome, where the Moors were expelled from out of, you know, most of Europe, particularly Spain, we can't really see this clearly. We're just dealing with the fringes of it, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, that was your suggestion that we build on that. However, I want to build on that on another show because we have
Yeah.
the Moorish community who are from the so-called Latin community or so, and they know that history, so they will be able to expound on it a lot more.
Oh yeah.
So now, I just wanted to expound a little bit on, getting a better understanding of East Coast and West Coast perspective in regards to Fat Joe and the FBA. So, Mike, from how you see it, right? When you looked at that Fat Joe interview with Matt Hoffa, how did you see it?
Honestly, Fat Joe has been explaining himself throughout the years on multiple points of this conversation, where he said at first most Hispanics don't know that some of their roots come from Africa. He said so they are black. And to hear him say this, I think it's that whole argument of the whole creation of hip hop thing. I feel like Fat Joe believes that he sees himself as a pillar in hip hop, that Puerto Ricans Hispanics have contributed to hip hop a great deal, and the whole FBA thing is, to me, I think, oh man, we're gonna catch flack for this. I think they want to be acknowledged from ADOS to FBA. They just want to segregate from the whole black diaspora account, the whole thing. Just to say that we are rooted deeply in this country, we have culture, but this thing it's a complex conversation, bro.
It's a complex conversation. It needs to be had though. Like for instance, right? This is what I see, right? When I heard from Fat Joe. Fat Joe was explaining how he felt or sees the foundational Black Americans. He wasn't talking to foundational Black Americans as in the lineage. He was talking to the actual group organization that Tariq Nasheed has made popular, started, some years back. Now, if you haven't been watching, if you don't know, Tariq Nasheed got his start on the internet. He started on the internet heavy in like 2008, 2009.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, with the old documentaries of Hidden Colors and such. Yeah.
Right before that, remember he was online with his Mac lessons and all of that.
Yeah.
Then he morphed into like a black activist, so to speak. Right. So
a lot of Macs do that, bro.
I mean, but everybody has a past, family.
Of course.
Everybody has a past, and some people's past go into some very fruitful and colorful, realities. So I don't knock him for that, and I just honestly see him as a media person. I don't see him as, he's not a part of an organization or anything, and he doesn't really have a history of organizing like that way. He's just more of a media personality. But the reality we must see is that what he's talking about, even if you don't like the way he talks about it, is a reality, is that we have a specific lineage as he says, foundational Black Americans, which is a triple lineage, which is, the Blacks who you could, a lot of people say, left Africa 50,000 years ago and came to the shores of North America and South America when we did our exodus out of Africa. The messenger said it was called the Shabazz crew, that rode out, okay? So that crew was here for a long time, man. Even you have a lady, Luzia, who's from, I think, Brazil, and her joints go way back, like 20,000 years ago. So we know there's been a Black indigenous contingent of humanity here on these shores, man, from South America to North America. And we know that really only say 1% to 2% of the slaves came to North America. So where did all these Black people come from? That's okay. We were here. That's an understanding that's understood. I think that's quite clear. Then we have the Moors who came, you got a place called California, Queen Khalifa. So we know that comes from maybe like the 1311 crew, Abu Bakr, who brought like 2,000 ships and took most of the wealth of the most wealthiest place in the world, Mali, and brought it here to give the Amr its Rika, which means riches. to make America, you know? And then we know, later on, the slaves from this transatlantic slave trade came. So it's like a triple lineage, you know? And then all of those people became known as so-called Negroes, colored, and then eventually Black, African American. So this is a very specific lineage, very, very specific lineage. If I was to even go back before Spain, we could even take that somewhere, and it goes somewhere, but we'll get to that. But this is a very specific lineage, that if not explained correctly, can get lost in a lot of the wildness of what we call the wilderness of North America.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that run wild, ideas run wild, and they must be rooted,
for sure,
in truth. It makes sense.
Indeed, God. Now, the reason why, what I want to say to that is, that's understood, right? Now, that's why FBA was created, to focus on that, right?
Right.
Now, I get that part. However, those who have the knowledge of themselves, especially the 5% Nation, or the NOI, or even the Moorish Science Temple, we also deal with who was the original man.
Right.
And then we also deal with
what is the population of the original nation in the wilderness of North America and all over the planet Earth. Right. Exactly.
And what is that? 17
million to 2 million Indians, making it 19 million all over the planet Earth, 4.4 billion. Yep.
So with that degree right there, that unifies original people all over the planet Earth.
Exactly.
And what I would say, just focus on one particular part of the planet Earth, or one particular piece. It focuses on the diaspora, right? Okay, and not even just the African diaspora, but also all over. I'm saying India, all that.
Right. That's the first document I ever saw that ever named the entire original nation from all over the planet, and that's what drew me to it. And that's what made me always look at the nation as Pan-Africanists, because they were the only people naming that number. It's like, wow, okay.
I respect what you're saying, and I get what you just dropped in that first degree. North America, as we know in the New World, that's what the majority of this transatlantic slavery started here, from Hispaniola, modern day Dominican Republic and Haiti, and then after the fall, like you said, of the Moors. We all have been we already were navigating the 7 seas.
Indeed.
And cast around, through slavery, different parts parceled out. But that, I never had an issue with this so-called FBA thing with people. I just look at them as brothers and sisters. It was never a label. I just know we was just as one.
Yo, Mike, this is new to us, right?
Yeah, I'm on code. Like, once I see a person of melanated, I'm like, yo, that's my brother. It don't matter if you're from Africa, the continent of Africa, any other country.
But honestly, I have to throw this in here. Now, there's some people that are from the continent and also from South America who've been weaponized. I ain't talking about all of our people. I'm talking about maybe a 10% class that have been weaponized against us. And that's who we're kind of responding to. We're not, man, look, my wife is African, family, straight from the continent. You feel me? My kids are of me and of her, so my family is, mixed all up like that. So, but we don't look at it because she's from the movement and I'm from the movement. So it's, even sisters from here, I'm gonna be straight up with you, because they wasn't movement. I didn't have a connection like that with them, because they are not movement. They just regular 85. Right. But she from 3,000 to 5,000 miles away, and we had a direct, connection and whatnot, because she's movement, I'm movement. It was a time in the when EPLF was fighting against Ethiopia, against the Derg, right? When the only people who was really standing with them was the Black Panther Party. People don't know that. They wasn't with the Derg shit, because the Derg, that was the colonial stuff, And even though the Derg was the communist, And they said, you know, the party was communist, but the party wasn't with that. The party stood with Eritrea. And my uncle told me that, you know? So you see how that go of how people with culture respect what? People with culture.
Right.
People who don't have culture can't really get along with nobody.
Right, exactly.
No, not even with theyself.
That's true indeed.
Yeah, so it's a better mixture, man, when we find the people who are cultured, and because they have culture and they have refinement as well, you know. So you know, yeah.
I agree 100%. Now, the brother Fat Joe, I think he's okay. Now, when we're talking about culture, right? Culture could mean a lot of different things.
Exactly.
From my perspective, right? So culture coming from our world means
Right.
that, you know, you're either rooted in African culture from the land. You could be rooted in the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. You could be rooted in the teachings of Allah, teachings of
Right.
Khalid.
Well, but you know, there's a philosophical part to it, right?
So I want to land. So what I'm
Yeah.
saying, you have that culture, the philosophical piece, right? And then you have something like hip hop street culture, which I think Fat Joe kind of like more leans toward. You know what I mean? Fat Joe is not a reader. Well, I don't want to disrespect because I don't know, but he's not like a reader of history. He doesn't know history like that. We already know how's he speak, how's he talking. He's not even sensitive to what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? He's just talking.
I mean, he could be because he's around. I just saw him at the with the Wu-Tang at the wedding, right? With whatchamacallit's wedding. Yeah, so it's like, well, you could be, but you chose what? Not to be.
But I see what you're saying. As far as culture, as you said, there's a philosophical aspect of it, and there's also culture as far as it being exposed to different broadening horizon. Like there was a big issue where people had an issue when Kai Cenat said to his fans, "Some of you are not culture." They thought that he meant you don't have a culture. No, there's such a culture as like you're not exposed to certain things. Like somebody could be into the opera or into arts whatsoever. I may not have been exposed to that, so I may not be cultured in that aspect to that. You know,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I think. Fat Joe, he spoke. If you listen to how he spoke, sounds like the average Puerto Rican dude from the streets in the Bronx. A dude from the Bronx, Puerto Rican, no knowledge of self, is going to answer that question the same exact way.
Well, let's take Sunez Allah as opposed to Joe.
Yeah.
You see the qualitative difference there?
Yeah, of course.
That's what I'm talking about. So I would rather talk to Sunez, and he would be a better representative of the power rule gods than Joe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Now, see, because now you're saying that I think because of where you come from and your region and your culture. Now, Mike, that's what I'm trying to figure out from you, Mike, being that you're from New York. Do you see more of were you offended by what Fat Joe said?
Honestly, no. Not really.
To me, it sounded like a regular New York Puerto Rican dude.
Yeah, I wasn't offended because I understood what he was trying to say.
Yeah,
you understand? And I, like as we said, Joe may not. I can't say knowledge himself because he did drop a few lines in that Flojo song. It sound like mathematics if you listen to the lyrics. But I don't think he's as you damn, not to disrespect Joe, like well read, done research.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I don't think he meant any harm by that, but this thing is getting blown out of proportion to a point where he's now blocked from the BET Awards because we live in such a sensitive society now where you can't express yourself.
Then he had gotten to that thing with Roy Jones, and that went. People took that a certain way. You know, y'all heard about that?
Yeah.
That people took that a certain way, man, because he didn't get on the square with him and be like, "Hey, it's okay, me and you." He made it like, "Hey, you see all these dudes here? These dudes have put holes in you. You know, you'll be a holy man," and that's that's looked at a certain way. That might be acceptable on the, over there, right? Where somebody will wet you up, right? But over here, that's looked at a certain way. That's like, oh, okay, that's how you moving. Well, maybe you'll get somewhere, and and you see, that's looked at a certain kind of way. Yeah.
Now I want to go.
I see the comment section
Wait,
there.
yo, Mike, hold on. We gotta address this sister right here.
Yeah, because I'm not sensitive.
We gotta talk about this right now. First of all,
you're not a foreign black, so of course you're not a. Listen, I was born here. First and foremost.
Mike, I was born.
No, I was born here first and foremost, and what he said does not offend me. I am not offended by what anyone on this earth says. Because I know who I am.
Right.
You understand? I'm not a sensitive Willie that's gonna be like, oh my God, they said this word.
Yeah, they said blah blah blah. Yeah.
The actions itself are more offensive, and what Fat Joe said, I don't find offensive. I'm being honest with you.
Now, here's the thing. They call now Mike is Haitian, right? Mike was born and raised in New York City, Brooklyn.
Right.
Okay. Now he's considered American to some of his Haitian.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. See? Did you
oh my God, I'm offended. Oh my God. I'm gonna cry about that. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Listen.
Well, see, I mean, okay, when I had a conversation with Paul Guthrie, right? And we was really building, the brother who wrote The Making of the White Man and who built on Farad. He was like, look, the identity of the original man has nothing to do with where you from. It has something to do with who you are, no matter where you go. You see? Yeah. It don't have nothing to do with where you from, where this place makes you into that. No, it has something to do with who you are.
Can I ask a question?
And how you express it.
Can I add on to that? And I'm gonna keep it plain. I'm gonna keep it so plain. When Diallo got gunned down by police officers, did they check for his nationality, or they just saw a black man? Right? When
there you go.
When Abel Weeman got plunged by the police officer, did they say, "Hold up, let's check your ID. What's your nationality?" No. So what I'm basically saying is, when I'm walking down the streets in the eye of a bigot, I'm viewed as a nigger. They're not gonna ask where I'm from. All right,
bro. This is what I'm saying about this whole. This is why we got to really deal with this, God. We got to deal with this, Mag, and we got to keep doing joints like this because look, you see this. So what?
You're not like us. They're not. All right. Her name is so stupid. Her name is so stupid. Look, a Holocaust survivor, right? Haiti was part of a Holocaust as well. We liberated ourselves. We was fighting colonialism as well.
Don't go Brooklyn right now. Hold on.
No, I'm not going Brooklyn, God.
He said,
let's deal with it like this, Mike. Your pop, right? Or immigrant, and your mom, right?
Yep.
Now, your pop. Explain to the people what your pop, how your pop raised you. They're
gonna laugh. My pop raised me with Black history. He told me when he got here, he did not look at them as Americans, but different from them. He said, those are your brothers. They fought the same battle we fought, but on different land. We had the same oppressor. You get what I'm saying? He said, if you look at Haiti, you look at America. Look at the ghettos of Black America. You look at the ghettos of Haiti on an island. You're being penalized for your skin color. You're under the foot of imperialism. You understand? I was raised with Pan-African books. There was none of that. Stay away from them. I was not raised with that ignorance. So to see people come on here with that dumb nonsense, it's stupid. American Holocaust survivors. So what you think happened to the Caribbean? You think they were Holocaust victims as well? Come on, let's get deep into it. A lot of people are here with hashtags.
A lot of people are comfortable with micro-nationalist, notions. They are, and they don't know how that size matters, right? So why would I shrink myself? Why would I shrink myself? We're dealing with a beast that is what? International. Only way you're going to deal with him is if you are dealing on an international perspective and level. Otherwise, you're going to get an international ass whooping. Really? With a micro-nationalist style of fighting. When you fighting the international big, come on, man, they don't even. So listen, man, I read something. I'm about to go here. It was called Memorandum 46. And it said, this was written by Zygmunt Brzezinski. And he said they wanted to prevent the African movement from uniting with the Black movement. for economic reasons. And they said they were going to do everything that they could do to keep these two movements separate and against each other. So whenever I see people pulling these type of tricks out the hat, the first thing that comes to my mind, Memorandum 46. Yeah, because they understood how powerful. John Henry Clark talked about the synonymous movements of the civil rights and the Black human rights movement and the fight against colonialism in Africa, and how the two complemented each other back and forth. How Dr. King, how a lot of civil rights people were at the 1957 Ghana independence, you know, to fan him on, and you know, and the brother Nkrumah, Osajifo Nkrumah was saying Black Power, Black Power, just like we were saying Black Power. And the same people that came against us when we said Black Power came against him when he said Black Power in Ghana, in Accra, Ghana, with the Convention People's Party. The same people that came against the Dalits in India when they said Black Power came against us when we said Black Power. The same people that came against Obi Egbuna when he said Black Power in London came against us when we said Black Power. So we started to connect some things like, wait a minute now. You see, and only a fool will blind himself to not see that. Just saying.
That's peace right there. And you know, I got something I want to say. They have a problem with people from diaspora not knowing that many of us don't know our whole family tree, right? Because we're being told what we know. But I wonder, do people have that same energy when the Ukrainians come here? When these other groups come here?
Well, how about the fact that Kwame Ture was from the Caribbean, correct?
Yep.
Right? Minister Farrakhan's parents is from the Caribbean. Malcolm X's peoples is from the, you know what I mean? So
Maya Angelou.
So it's not Maya Angelou, it's not where you from and whatnot, it's how you representing it, man. You know, how you coming to the table. Shirley Chisholm too, right? So, yeah, how you coming to the table.
This is why I say this new age consciousness stuff to me is a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry, you know, because people just doing it for hashtags to sound cool, and it's complete division. There's no difference between, like, when I see us going at these stupid battles with one another, we're better off just putting on Ku Klux Klan hoodies and just walk the streets, because that's what we're doing. It's a self-cleaning oven.
But just like the God Mag said, though, just like the God Mag said, he said, when if you get 85s, FBA 85s,
it's gonna be to fuck this shit.
Yeah,
it's just the worst part. It's not even the poor part. It's the worst part. You feel me? Because it's designed by the 10% to keep the 85% locked in. Let's put 10 and 85 together. What you got? 95, right? Right? 9 plus 5 is what? 14. That's the 14th degree is what? 85%. Because 10% ain't nothing but a sophisticated 85%.
Exactly.
And that's that, yeah, you see? So
I didn't think like that before. I never thought about it like that.
That's what we're dealing with. The sophisticated 85s confusing the non-sophisticated 85s into some false ideas and concepts. Oh, you're this and you're that. The God degrees say what? Why does the devil call our people Africans? And it's not, he's saying the name African. He's saying, why does the devil how does he use these labels to divide us?
Right.
You're Puerto Rican. You're African American. You're African. You're Dominican. You know what I mean? You're Haitian. You know, use all these things to divide us when you know, we know there's some plurality within it and we can respect that. But what is the common denominator between these things? That's what we got to find, man. That's what we got to find. The common denominators. And that's what I would call the keys to the kingdom. When you understand these common denominators, and I would say the common denominator is respect of culture. You know? Yeah. Because I done met people from all walks of life, family, because I had culture, because my name reflects culture. They have to come at me and say, I didn't even been incarcerated. And the guard saw that my name was Amin Allah, and the other guard was trying to disrespect me. He was like, nah, hold up, man. I don't give a damn if you don't like his name. You got to respect that man. And this dude was like from Turkey who told the dude that. So culture respects culture, man. If you got it, you're going to get it. What? Respect.
Right. Now, I would just want to address Brother Tariq. Thanks for the donation of $5. Really appreciate you. Brother Tariq, Columbus called the people of the islands food in Haiti. He wrote the Terra, blacks from the land. So FBA should study more Islam.
Exactly.
FBA is just saying we're acknowledging this certain lineage. So there's going to be people of higher quality and lower quality. So we're not going to find the lowest common denominator and then make that the standard for FBA. Now we're going to look at the thorough people that we know that are from this lineage and from all the different lineage and bring them to the table. And I guarantee the conversation will be very, very substantive, you know. And that's kind of what we want to do with the Black Roundtable, is bring those minds that are thoughtful and respectful and cultural, because otherwise it's not even a conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like my thing is, at the end of the day, I don't care what they say. Let us separate, and you see how further down we go. And that's how we always gonna fall. We can never unify. I don't care what. Yo,
come on.
I'm always gonna come with this analogy. When the French and the Spaniard landed on Hispaniola, what is known now as Haitian Republic, they had a little war. And what they said at the end of the day, you know what? You take this side, I take this side, and we must unify. Let's benefit ourselves and our homeland and control these people. So
and that's what we're looking at when we look at America. You got Germans, French, British, even like Norwegian, all the different nationalities of Europe that came up off that because that was holding Europe back. That caused wars for hundreds of years straight. They regressed up off of that to gain what? Whiteness. And whiteness means they're mixing it all together to make something better. And let's keep it real. Americans have not been plagued by the wars that Europe has been plagued by, because they got up off the thing that was causing them to fight in war. So by the same token, in order for us to survive and move forward, we have to take the best parts of all of this, make something better, man, to preserve all of these different cultures. It's going to take all of us coming together, man. That don't mean everybody got to unask who they are. What it means is that we have to find a common thread and then sew the garment together using the common thread. You see?
And there's nothing more. Yo, you see how they quick to say they quick to say, you know, it's always the white man colonialism. Sometimes it's your own. Nothing more worse than the black devil.
Come on, man.
This is what every revolutionist had to deal with. This is what my brother Ron deal with. This is what I do with this podcast, because you got a lot of, I'm sorry to say it, a bunch of coons running around here that say they for the people, but they behave like such monkeys. You know what I'm saying?
No refinement.
You get what I'm saying?
Everybody want the power, but don't nobody want the refinement.
You feel me?
Indeed.
I think also people project, like they're going through something in their own lives,
right?
So find somebody or something to be mad at, so then they jump in this kind of, you know what I'm saying? You got to drink water, you got to work out, you got to eat clean, you got to get enough sleep, get enough hugs, get enough love. You know what I'm saying? And then come to this conversation and have a conversation, as opposed to throwing daggers and swirling insults and things like that.
Well, let me put this part in here, y'all. We had a bill amongst the new Black Panther Party. We was talking about the cracks of the cracker, and not in a derogatory way. Okay, when we say a cracker, we're talking about somebody who put a compromise in a wall or a floor or a surface. So we're talking about a man who has put cracks in our culture, cracks in our relationships, cracks in our ideologies, cracks in our organization, so that things that don't need to be in seep in, and things that need to stay in seep out. So it's a compromise within the security of the idea that the cracker causes, you see. And we have to seal these cracks up in order to fix this problem, you see.
Like the brother Sharif Bey likes to say, European psychology.
That's what it is, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's whooping our behind. And, you know, we see it pop up in all kind of different ways, disunity and whatnot. But, you know, if you know Dr. Bobby Wright, these are just all of the signs of menticide, man. oh, well, you're a Haitian and I'm African American, or you're, you know what I mean? Come on, well, why would we try to come together on stuff that's different, on our differences? That doesn't even make sense. I'm gonna come together on finding the commonality, and then we discuss that, and then the differences just disappear into the back fade. You know what I'm saying? Just fade away. That's how I always seen it, man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. American Holocaust, you going off? I don't know.
Yeah, she's going. She needs a hug, bro.
She's in a bad mood. American.
In a bad mood. Need to get some rest, man. Some nutrients.
Some rest.
She said, "What's she saying? Not unified." Of course, we know that because our victory. You understand? That's why Haiti's not unified. We being punished still for overthrowing Napoleon. You get what I'm saying? If you read the Haitian Constitution, what we said during the victory, anybody that's black could step foot in that land is free. We went around the world and helped people fight. You get what I'm saying?
Overseer that.
You probably even know your own history. I should educate you about your own history. Nat Turner was inspired by the Haitian Revolution. Talk about that. Okay.
Therapy.
Yeah, Mama.
It was a world movement. It was a world movement. Yeah, you can look around the world and see certain, even places like y'all ever heard of Yanga, the brother from Mexico, the civilization, one of the first free civilizations in Mexico was a brother named Jasper Yanga. He was a thorough brother. Yeah. I think it was like the generals who freed Mexico, man. These were brothers. So, it just goes deep, man. But, people want to cut it up and separate it because through separation, this is how they control. But like the gods always said, when you deal with mathematics, you cannot deal with multiplication and division at the same time. Got to do one or the other. So if we're going to multiply, we can't be dealing with division and trying to deal with multiplication because the two cancel each other out. You can't deal with addition and subtraction simultaneously. It's got to be one or the other. So it's a choice.
Right.
When I look at the flag, I'm gonna just say this: you got a joint going up, and then you got an X. You got a T and an X. That's the multiplication sign, and that's the addition sign.
Exactly.
Right. When you look at the star, yes, sir.
Wow.
Now I want to say to you, brother Magnetic, so you understand the purpose of the foundational Black American lineage. I understand the purpose.
Because it's a reality, family, so I can't, it's undeniable. Yeah.
Right. It's a reality. Now the issue on the internet, as you can see, I don't know if you knew how bad this thing
it is bad.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. So that's what we're trying to deal with. The
fallout.
That part of it, like clear the, you know what I mean? Try to clear the chaos a little bit, you know what I mean? Or at least speak up on it, to be the voice.
And I think your shows like yours, brother, I must say, and I must give you guys a lot of credence and credit because I watched the show y'all did with Eric Muhammad and with the other brother, what's the brother?
Sharif.
Morris brother. Yeah, brother Sharif. That was an excellent show. But what it's showing is a common denominator between our ideologies, our organizations, and the cultures within the culture. It shows that, and we need to go into that because that's the beginning of us learning how to live with each other, man, and how to love each other and how to make each other better, man, and to complement each other and build what I call the Mecca, the Metropolitan Economic Cultural Center for Afro-Asiatics, You see, 16 of them, and be able to connect them and have it to where it's not just, where they're not just connected, but there's a respect and there's an exchange where you see sister cities between different American, cities and different European cities. We need to do the same thing between southern cities and northern cities, eastern cities and western cities. We need to do the same thing because they talk about the motor city. Who's the motor of these cities? Us. We're the engine. Yeah, we make it go.
Now,
tax dollars.
16 Black
you see?
Everybody.
Yeah. The 16 Black Meccas. That's my my YouTube page. Y'all can go there, listen to the music, watch the videos and whatnot. But it's essentially a concept. Yeah, I can go through, I can name them all, but I'd rather write them down so you could really see, 16 black cities where black people have brought culture, have brought commerce, have brought family, and have been able to make these places into economic centers for the world. And the world has benefited because the world has businesses there, but we need to have businesses there and move and do exchange amongst each other. You know what I mean? A lot of our people that come from other countries come to these 16 black meccas from Africa, from South America, from different parts of India and whatnot, because they know it's places that we have settled. You know what I mean? However, other people have economically benefited more. We need to connect them, and we need to draw out the actual history of these places, the true history of these places, because you're looking at Chicago, at Los Angeles, New York. Most of these places was really founded and grounded by us, or popped off after the Great Migration, when droves of us came in and built the city up, the infrastructure of the city, paid taxes for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 generations. You know what I mean? So these are all real things. These are not just things we're making up. Now, we paid the most money into the schools, into the infrastructure, into the civic structure, into the city government, into the companies that are there, the corporations that are there. So it's just time that we were able to reap some of the reward. We dealt with the penalty. Now we need the reward.
That's real right there. And that's beautiful what you say. Yo, peace to you, Magnetic, the God. This is what Ron and I was talking about with Pars. Yo, don't it sound like the whole?
Yeah, his initiative with the round table, the black round table.
Yeah,
we got to send him what we were doing with Project African Restoration. So we created some years back, right around Floyd's
George Floyd.
George Floyd. Did I say? I didn't say George Floyd.
Nah.
What did I say?
You said Floyd something.
You said Floyd. We thought you were talking about Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah. Sometimes I get mixed up. Sometimes George Floyd, around the George Floyd incident, we created an organization called Project African Restoration, and it's basically to unify the Africans in the diaspora. So your round table and Project African Restoration is like the same thing almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
So much.
I'm gonna send you documents with that just to show you the whole plan.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then we could chop it up about that. So the 60 meccas, you said you would rather write it down.
Yeah, I would, draw it up so y'all could really see it. Y'all could really see it, and you'll kind of see like, oh yeah, these are all the black places. He just put them all together. Because they're talking about Philly, the DMV, Jersey, Mecca, specifically New York. We go south. We talking about places like Oklahoma, Georgia, Alabama, Houston, Dallas. You know what I mean? All these, the Midwest, Chicago, Detroit, Ohio, and there's one more, but all the black centers. And when you go there, I done been to most of these places, so I know. I'm not just talking this stuff. North Carolina, these are places that we all got family in. These are places that if you research and you start looking, I guarantee you got family in most of the black meccas. And this is kind of how I figured out this science of the black meccas, because as I started looking at my family, I would be like, well, damn, I got family in Texas. I got family in Alabama. I got family in Georgia. I got family in Miami. I got family in North Carolina. I got family in Chicago. And it was like, God damn, this is a lot of play. How did we get? And then as I started looking into, I said, oh, well, these are the black meccas. Y'all heard of the Green Book, huh? From back in the day, the Green Book.
Was it that singer that had a movie about him, something like that, like a piano?
Right, he kind of touched on it, but it was a book that showed you all the places you could go across America where they let black people go, different towns, different businesses where you could stop and where not to stop, and it was a whole map of the whole thing. And this is kind of an extension of that, y'all, because from them gardens that we built of black neighborhoods, now there's whole forest where they done expanded outside of those particular points, you know, like Detroit, Chicago, New York, and it's expanded, you know, Lowe's County, it's expanded outside of that, you know.
Right.
And you know, I just think these things, in order for us to maximize off it, these places have to be connected.
Right, indeed. So, God, you know, I want to wrap up because we have a podcast right now regarding. So, everybody, the FBA people, I see you in here. I just want to let everybody know, as far as the Freedmen history and everything.
We love y'all.
Hold on. As far as the Freedmen history and all that, we had brother Naeem Wade on to build on that. So
yeah.
So this platform is very diverse, and don't think that we don't know what's going on as far as history is concerned. You know, we're privy to a lot of information. So anyway, we're going into the next podcast to build on this FBA. So all the FBA.
I can add one thing, Ron.
Yo, we got it, bro. But yeah.
Yeah, one thing I want to add. I'm not putting down nobody's history, because your history, I'm gonna keep it real, is my history. A win for one is a win for all. I got love for my black people. I was born here. I know the American history. I know the plight of my African people. This is why I say this shit is fake. Black people, I don't see no difference. Right. You're my brother, you're my sister. You suffer the same way my people suffered.
Indeed.
And us here haven't suffered like that, how our people suffered. So let's just work on building better communities and doing good for ourselves and stop with the hatred. That's it.
And I'm gonna say we cannot multiply and divide simultaneously. It goes against the law of mathematics. Peace.
Exactly. Peace.